Good morning, dreamers, non-believers. We've gotten 2 Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 trailers, which did take me a bit off guard because the last time I even thought about this series, I was still in college. And now I'm trying to be a YouTuber. Chat, am I cooked? First trailer starts with Dog Day strutting into a room past some corpses on the ground, up to a different corpse, and starts eating it. Which, like, were the other corpses too good for you? Like, do you have a refined palate? Does the way the blood is smeared on the body help it go down better? Like, what? Sorry, I digress. But as he's eating him out, pause, a black sheep jumps on top of him, pins him down, and starts eating him out. Pause! The way this trailer was scripted and executed was really good. I saw this trailer, this first trailer, right after I came home from the movie theaters, and you know, you get all those ads and all the trailers in the theaters for upcoming movies all pretty much were the same. Like, none of them were really inspiring to me, and so to come home and to see this, an actually good trailer that made me actually feel something, it was a very pleasant surprise. After watching this trailer, I sat for a second and thought, how in the Huggy Wuggy Kellogg's Frosted fuck did we get here? Remember back in 2021 when the first chapter felt like a glorified tech demo? I know that sounds mean, but like, one playthrough took just over 30 minutes, alright? In that time, they gave you, well, a lot. Maybe not in much substance, but virality. Like, I felt like the team knew what was needed to make this game pop off, and so took those ingredients, jammed it together, and made it very condensed to give you just what you needed to explode. You see, going viral back in 21 is very similar to what it is nowadays, while slightly different. Let me show you. Hello class, today's lesson will be over history, more specifically, how to go gaming viral back in 2021 in my very expert opinion. Going viral back then and going viral now are different and yet similar. Let me explain. You see, back then and now have the same thing where you have to capture the content creators. Being able to capture content creators will really mean that you'll be able to get pretty much free advert for your games. You see, the creators behind this game knew this, so they had to give gamers, and more specifically content creators, exactly what was needed. You see, this game has came out at the later end of the mascot horror boom. FNAF at 2014, Bindi at 2018, and Hello Neighbor also at 2018. Whenever you think mascot horror, at least for me, those are the games that I think of first. But this came out in 2021, a whole 7 years after FNAF, and 3 years after Bindi. You see, they used this to their advantage. They took those games and distilled them down to their most iconic aspects to give you exactly what you wanted in such a short time frame. The first and arguably most important thing, the character. You see, it's called mascot horror for a reason, because there's a mascot. FNAF, Freddy Fazbear. Bindi and the Ink Machine, Bindi. Hello Neighbor, I actually don't know his name off the top of my head, and I'm not going to Google it. I'm too lazy to do all that. So having Huggy in the first chapter be the main one that you see works out for them a lot. You see him at the very beginning of the game, and then you see him again at the chase. Now the chase is my next part. The chase is what will really give YouTubers a chance to scream and shout and let it all out, really ham it up. Give them a moment for viewers to really enjoy, because they're over here screaming, you know, because they're getting chased. Imagine this game if it just didn't have that high intensity moment, that moment that really connects you with the creator. I don't think you'd have this franchise, would you? My hair is slowly falling back to where it wants to be, but I won't let it. Okay, I can't leave it like that forever. All right, we're back to this. Now, the entire game can't be just that. It can't be all high-speed chases and high intensity. I mean, it can be, but that's not what they're going for. No, they need something in between to show they can fill the gaps and not do the same thing over and over again. No, they need puzzles, real brain teasers. And the puzzles they use in this game are not complex, but they're pretty intuitive. At least for the first game, they're pretty intuitive. And I think going from puzzle to kind of scary moment to puzzle to chase really helped them out there. It showed them that they can fill in the gaps in between the big moments. And now I'm a huge fan of the rule of 3, but there is one more rule that I have to say, because you've probably been screaming it at me this entire time. Poppy Playtime and these other mascot horrors would not be where they are today without lore. Lore. Okay, lore. While the game installments will give something gamers will play and get their audience to watch, it's the lore that will get theorists talking about the game in between installments. You see, like I said, I did not think about this franchise between games. But now they're starting to stir up the community again. They're releasing teasers, they're releasing more videos, they're releasing photos, they're releasing puzzles for you to solve in between the wait. You see, the theories do more than just fill the time. They engross you in this series. You see, if you spend hours upon hours thinking over this franchise, just making new and more theories, and then the new game comes out and it confirms your theories or deny it, you feel more attached to the franchise because you've spent so much time thinking about it. It gives you a way to be more enthralled into this world. And I think there is no better way to show how important these things are than to show you what happens when you do it poorly. I've mentioned it multiple times in this video. You know him, you love him. Hello Neighbor. Now, Hello Neighbor, we're going to go through the rules I just mentioned and kind of show how he kind of failed at each one of these. Okay, so the first one, the character, the mascot, and it's just some dude. It's such a bland design, and I honestly I really don't remember his name, or if he even has one. He might just not have one, and that's why I don't remember. But point being, it's a very bland design. Like, if you see it, you recognize it, but you're not thinking it over. Like, look at Huggy, look at him, look at Huggy, and look at him. And now there's an argument to be made that Huggy and the other mascots are so well characterized like that is because they're made for children, because they are. But the neighbor just looks at a guy that yells at children, which makes sense for his character, so I guess they got on point. Next thing were the big moments, the chase, like I said. And to be fair, it had some, but they never really amounted to much. There's only one that I can really think of at the moment, because the whole game pretty much is just one big chase, depending on what version you're playing on. But so because of this, I'm really freehanding this. I'm not really reading off a script here, so I'm tripping over my words, but because of this, the climactic moments don't feel as climactic, because even in the cinematics, when you're getting chased, that's what you've been doing the whole game. Like the scripted events, well, they just feel scripted because it's just the same old, but you get a little prompt beforehand. Or the one that I can actually think of off the top of my head, the one where you turn around and push him. Doing that kind of breaks the game, because it's like, could you not do that the whole time then? Why only then? Like, maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm just being a silly goose. And then also the puzzles. The puzzles, if you've ever played Hello Neighbor before, you know exactly where I'm going with this. The puzzles in some of the versions were some of the most infuriating things I could think of. They were mind-boggling. Like, I honestly could not understand what they were trying to do with some of these. Finally, lastly, the lore. Now, the lore is a bit everywhere, considering what they've done. They've had Hello Neighbor 2, they've had a spin-off where you just make cars, they've had games that they've since deleted, they had the one Among Us clone, but through all those, there's somewhat of a lore that you can somewhat follow through. But since it's so everywhere, it's hard to pick the pieces out sometimes. It's like FNAF almost. There's just so much everywhere that it's just If you want a more detailed dive into Hello Neighbor and the absolute absurdity of that whole franchise, go watch Wicked Wiz's video of it. It's an amazing video, and I love it so much that I've watched it multiple times. So go watch that after this, after this. Okay? Good. All right. I don't feel like moving the camera again, so we're doing the rest of this video standing up. Ooh, feels good. Now, my opinions on chapter 2 and 3 are mostly the same for Poppy Playtime. Chapter 2 is pretty much chapter 1, but longer when it comes to story beats. You got puzzles, you got a huge chase at the end, all that fun stuff, but you actually have mini bosses sprinkled in there, which is always nice. Then we have chapter 3, which takes a little bit of a shift. You still got mini bosses, but then you have an actual boss fight at the very end where you actually have to go against Catnap. It's not just a chase that you have to do, right? Which, you know, always lovely. Like, you know, an actual boss fight to end a game, like, whoa. But I do appreciate it. But now with chapter 4 on the horizon, I felt like now would be my best time to put my 2 cents on this game, and then I'll probably make another video after the chapter comes out. You see, in the latest trailer that I've yet to mention, we see a prison almost with cameras and all these cells, right? And we see them in some of the image on the Steam website. And the main villain, I don't know if they revealed him yet. Let me explain. So in the first trailer, the one I mentioned earlier, we had the Black Lamb. I don't think that's the main villain. And then in the second trailer, we see 2, I'm pretty sure. We see 2 enemies. We see Yarnaby, I think that's what his name is, which is your average, look cutesy on the outside, is actually a deadly creature with face splits open, all this fun stuff and jazz. But we also see a camera, or not camera, sorry, a TV with an eye on it. The eye is glitching, and then when it sees you, it turns red, and that's when you turn around and see Yarnaby. I think the camera dude is going to be the main villain of this chapter. Here's why. Now, I do feel like it would make a lot of sense that if we're in a prison system, which is even deeper in the play here, how deep is this place? Like, remember last video when I made a joke about how deep the Pizzaplex went? Because it was like Pizzaplex, like it was Pizzaplex, FNAF 6 location, Burn Trap Room, Mimic Room. It's this again, because it's like chapter 1 you're on the surface, and then chapter 2 you go down, and chapter 3 you go down, and then at the end of chapter 3 you go down, so you're even farther below. I don't know. Point being, you're really deep in there and you're in the cell, supposedly where they do the experiments. So I feel like if this is where they do the experiments, it would make a lot of sense to learn about what they're doing to the orphanage, or I mean not orphanage, what they did to the orphans to turn them into the bigger body initiative. Ugh. Point being, I would love to see more lore of how the prototype got how he is. We are on chapter 4. I don't know how many chapters they're planning on doing, but I feel like Any more than 5 is outrageous. But they might. I mean, look at FNAF. Look how many they got. I don't know how long they're gonna be doing these, and I feel like if they plan on stopping around the 5, 6, 7 mark, now would be a good time to give us a little bit more about the prototype. I don't think the prototype's big secret of who he actually is or anything like that will be revealed until the last chapter when they actually go against the prototype. But I feel like now would be a good time to start dropping a little bit more hints of what they did to him, what he has become more of. Maybe what his plan is, because like he's trying to, like he's taking parts from all these different bigger body initiative creatures to build himself supposedly a new body. Now, whether it's a better body, just amalgamation of all of these different parts, or if it's a new human body using all of the organic parts of the toys, we don't know. But I would like to get more hints about what his actual end goal is. I don't know. Another big contention here is Ollie. Ollie was introduced last chapter, and now what? He's obviously gonna betray us. Like everyone everywhere has said that. And I feel like it's pretty obvious he's gonna betray us. And if he betrays us, then maybe Poppy betrays us too. I don't know. Point being, one or both of them are gonna betray us at some point. So I think in this chapter, we are going into the prison. This is my unhinged theory that I have no real evidence behind, but like I'm just going to take the guess for the fences. We're gonna go in. We're gonna see this eyeball, and it's gonna be like, that's your main mission to take out. You're gonna take down Yarnaby. You're gonna take down Doughboy. I did see that, and I really hope we get to see Doughboy because I pray he looks so stupid. I pray he looks so scrunkly. If you don't know what scrunkly means, it means ugly in a cute way. I pray. But I think we're gonna go in, we're gonna see the eyeball. Ollie and Poppy are gonna be like, that's the mission. You gotta take that down. We're gonna take down Yarnaby, Doughboy, maybe work with or work against the black sheep, because I've seen some of that we might be working with them, but you know, who knows? I don't know. We're gonna defeat all of them. We're gonna take down the Eye. The Eye is gonna be the final boss, because like I said before, the Eye runs the prison and he looks down on us and is watching us the entire time, sending things after us, trying to capture us. But we take him down eventually, because you know, protagonist, plot armor. We're gonna take him down, and right when we do that, it's going to release something. I think the Eye is protecting something. It wants us captured so we don't release something more dangerous. We're gonna take down the Eye, and it's gonna release something. And then that's gonna be the thing we have to take down in chapter 5. Or maybe, if they don't want to do all that and they do want to end at chapter 5, henceforth they wouldn't want to release another villain, what they might do is we would release it, maybe not at the very end of the chapter, but maybe like 3/4 of the way through, try to stop it, and then the prototype comes in, kills it, takes his body, and then, you know, we fight the prototype in chapter 5. Maybe if Ollie is Doughboy though, if the Eye is protecting Ollie, and that's why Ollie only can call us, and doesn't want him released, he wants to, we release Ollie inadvertently, prototype kills Ollie, takes his Doughboy body, and uses it as like the vessel to put the organs in. I really need to stop drinking Red Bull. Anyway, leave your comments and crazy theories down below. Those are my favorite to read, all the comments that y'all leave. Subscribe if you watched all the way to here, because obviously you like hearing my crazy ramblings of what I think is relevant, which is crazy to think about that y'all do that sometimes. Leave a like, that's cool also. Yeah, I guess that's all. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Sometimes I cry when I think too hard.